scary story number 1. Scary story part 2. Okay, so this is a little bit different. Like I said, this may or may not be a mental health issue. I had this sense for a while, and it was around this time last year. This is true story. That there was a ghost in my home. Now, there's a lady that I knew for many years that lived next door, and she passed away, and they're kind of doing construction on her apartment. But I just was having this feeling that a ghost was stalking my home. Just a little backstory. I have a close friend from Japan, and she talked to me a little bit about living ghost, which a living ghost is literally yourself, that the part of you that is in kind of like trouble or is stressed out. I'm going to read this because it's interesting. She told me that in Japan, they say that living ghosts come in from the bathroom or the kitchen because of the connection to water, and they come when you're down, you're alone, or you're in a weak place in your life. And she said that living spirits are much more dangerous than dead ones, and that some dead ones don't know that they're dead, so they hang around and they can be related to you. But she said that the water they're related to, like, quickly. And in this instance, I always got this feeling of the ghost when I was in the kitchen, and they'll come at times that you're vulnerable. So I remember that ghost would come either when I was in the kitchen or at night when I was most vulnerable, and I was, just like alone. And it was always on a Sunday too. I always noticed that. She also told me that the spirits come when you're spiritually weak, and at the time I was going through some things, and I probably was spiritually weak, and they do that because spirits are opportunistic, according to her. And so what you have to do is you have to fight back. And I'm going to just tell you what happened. So this happened to me a couple of times, but this one was the most scary. So I was in the kitchen and I was washing dishes. All of a sudden, I just had this feeling that there was a presence of a spirit in my living room. In my hallway. So I stopped washing the dishes and I go into the hallway, and I think I was screaming out like, "What is it? What is it?" Something like that. I don't know. I just felt like saying that because I felt very violated by whatever it is that I was feeling that was there, that was watching me. But I was not scared. Once again, it's like fear doesn't come into the equation for me. Anyway, just moving on. So then I go to the living room, and something really scary happens to me. I walk over to a painting, and I feel like I have so much adrenaline going that I kind of black out because I'm just having, I guess, I don't know, an anxiety attack or whatever it is. And I walk up to this painting, and I know, once again, it's one of these things of going into autopilot. So my body goes into autopilot, and I scratch the painting. I don't know why I did this. All this happened in a matter of seconds. And then I'm going through my things in the living room, just kind of opening and closing things. Like I was opening and closing a purse, opening and closing it. And then I came to, and I stopped. I said, "Stop it. Stop. And I stopped. And after that, I felt like the presence was gone for that time. It was very scary because I knew that I was kind of like dissociated from reality for that small point of time, like scratching the painting. It's something that doesn't happen to me, so it was very concerning to me. I believe that energy manifests itself from form to form, and we know that energy does not die. And I think that it more applies to like a spiritual weakness. So that was really scary for me. There were other times where I felt like there was one spirit, and where I feel like there were several spirits. And usually if I felt more than one spirit, it was at nighttime. And I would just get this feeling of, they're here. And I just remember just like rocking back and forth, just feeling like, the spirits were here, they were here. And it wasn't, once again, it wasn't fear. It was more like feeling pain or agony. Just kind of like feeling like I'm being violated. But I remember feeling the strongest feeling, like piercing. There is a presence here. I just felt it. It was so piercing and so strong. And what would happen is, as it would happen, and it would happen maybe every other Sunday, not with that extra autopilot thing that I was telling you, but just the feeling of a strong presence. And I started just yelling at it. I would say, "Get the fuck out of here. Get out." I was talking to my friends. My friends were like, "That's what you're supposed to do." Just tell them to get the fuck out of here. I don't need you. You're not wanted here. You are not wanted here. Get out. And eventually I stopped having these feelings, and the stronger I became and the more I talked to the spirits, told them that they're not welcome here, they can't be here. Eventually it stopped happening altogether, and I have not felt anything like that in almost a year now. But it did happen for a good 3 to 4 times, and the scariest moment was that moment of kind of dissociation where I scratched the painting and kind of was going through my things in kind of an obsessive, anxious way, and I could feel that the presence was so strong. It felt so strong. It really did. So that is my ghost story. I can get more into that story at another date. But it was really scary for me. Something else my friend said about living ghosts is that they can destroy your relationships. You know, it's like, it's a whole thing with that. And I felt like this ghost was taking advantage of the fact that I already felt very spiritually weak, and it was preying on me, and I did not let it win. Whatever it was, even if it was just something that was inside of me, I didn't let it overtake me. So I won in that situation. Now you're probably thinking, if you feel a spirit, why didn't you go outside the door? Once again, it's this feeling, I don't believe that there's anything in another dimension that intersects with our dimension that can hurt us. I don't feel that way. You know, scary movies aside, I think that our biggest enemy are each other. We're our biggest enemy. So I was not going to leave my house. I didn't even feel like leaving my house. I just felt like the ghosts need to get out of there. It's very weird. Once you're in a situation, you act a lot differently than you think you would. So have any of you had any paranormal experiences, any paranormal activity, or are you just stark raving crazy like me? Because that's also possible. So let me know. Also, if you did have a paranormal experience, did you react the way you thought you would? Because I found that in both instances, I did not react the way that I thought I would, which I found very fascinating, just in terms of my own psychology, you know. So let me know your paranormal experiences. Have a happy Halloween. I shall see you bunnies later. So we were taken one by one to go from the place of kind of like the sign-in with reception to go to the actual set and shoot.